Welcome back. The former Director General of the State Security Agency, Arthur Fraser, has met with the Hawks today. He reportedly finished the agency with more details on their investigation into his complaint against President Cyril Ramaphosa. Fraser laid a criminal charge against Ramaphosa, alleging that he had concealed a multi-million-dollar robbery at his Pala Pala farm in the Waterberg in Limpopo. Meanwhile, the President has denied any wrongdoing. Well, we're still waiting for the last edition of the Zondo Commission report to drop. The Chief Justice Raymond Zondo expected to submit the final part of what's formally called the State Capture Commission of Inquiry to the Presidency at some time today. It is, of course, Edition 5. You may well remember the release of the blockbuster Edition 1 to 4. Tumaole Mohlaoli joins us now. He sat through all of it, and he's beginning to wonder about the next phase of his life. Tumaole, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Stephen.
What are we expecting in this report?
Before we go there, Stephen, I just received a message right now from Professor Mosala of the Secretariat of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. I had written to him asking, when can we expect the report? What is going on? The message is very short. It is actually 3 words: tonight before midnight. So that is the official word from Professor Mosala from the Secretariat, tonight before midnight. That leaves it way open because there's still several hours, but we do know that it won't necessarily be in the next few hours, but definitely still happening today.
Okay, so, I mean, there's not a lot of time. It does mean that the Chief Justice wants to keep close to time. It also means that there won't be another delay. We will have it tonight.
We will have it tonight. And, of course, the Chief Justice has been very emphatic about the fact that he does not want any further delays. He is very conscious about the amount of money that this particular project, the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, has cost taxpayers. Of course, in the context of COVID-19 as well, having broken out during the Commission's work, and how the taxpayers' rand was used. Of course, this is very important work because it also unpacked how the state coffers were looted, and it's something that the State Capture Commission of Inquiry was seeking to unpack so that it could make recommendations so that this thing could not happen again. So, indeed, it's been a lengthy process and quite a costly one, but he has met the deadline as he promised that by this day that the report will be out, and we'll be looking closely to the report to see exactly how it recommends or what it recommends and where Parliament then will have to come in and finalize the process in terms of who will be held accountable, what that accountability will mean, and how these monies will be recouped. There are already court processes underway right now. We think of some high-profile people. Dudumieni is before the court. Esma Khashule has got that long-running court process that has been going. So we do see that the wheels of justice in terms of the prosecutions linked to state capture-related activities or allegations of graft are already underway. So what we're looking for in the final report is to what is next and who next we can expect.
So what's interesting is who's been charged on the basis of the recommendations of the previous volumes and who hasn't. Yeah. So we've seen, for example, I almost said Brian Molefe, not Brian Molefe, Sebonga Gama has been charged, but not Brian Molefe. Yes. It's very interesting to see who's been charged and who hasn't.
Yeah, it is very interesting to see who has been charged and who hasn't. You know, we also would have Anoj Singh, who was, you know, cast as a very unreliable witness, and in terms of the findings of the reports, it was quite damning. But when you look also at other characters in terms of Kwere Mantashe himself, in terms of what the recommendations or the earlier reports had found in terms of the upgrades to his property. It remains to be seen whether the final report will say those who were implicated and found to have been, you know, either witnesses that weren't satisfactory, or whether the explanations as to how they came about to be linked with individuals that could be seen to them, that could be seen as them being captured, are not being, you know, prosecuted. Whether this final report will then close it all up and say these are the people that have to come before the dock. Interestingly enough, Malusi Kigaba is also one of those individuals that was seen to be questionable in terms of the decisions he took, and cast as someone who opened up SOEs for state capture for the Guptas in his time as Public Enterprises Minister, for instance. So it will be all eyes on this report to see whether Malusi Kigaba will also be one of those names to say, go after him and let's him before the dock to answer for those allegations that were made before the Commission of Inquiry.
One of the important things about a report like this is because there's so much to it, you get an executive summary, and most people who read the report will really have read the executive summary. Trust me, I've been a journalist for a long time. I'm one of those people. Yes. Now, we're going to get an executive summary today. The executive summary itself might turn out to be important because it'll have influence going forward. It's what people will actually read.
Yes, it's what people will actually read because it also gives an indication of the general attitude of the Commission of Inquiry in terms of the findings and whether it will be leaning towards those who are listed as having been witnesses that have a case to answer to, and whether that the expectation is that then the NPA and other organs of state will go after them. Remember, the Judicial Commission of Inquiry itself is not a criminal process per se, but really an inquiry to try and find out what happened leading up to the looting of billions, tens and tens of billions of state taxpayers' money that was meant to service the majority of South Africans and ensure that the state grows and the state runs its mandate of providing services to the people and growing the economy and growing indeed the SOEs themselves. We've seen the direct opposite. SOEs are now in a state of total disrepair, is that the right word? Some have tanked. SAA, you have Danel, all of which were once shining examples in terms of the African context to the world of